Okay, we all know why we're here, okay? The Bethesda conference was a little bit too hype. There's a few things that look, pretty decent, like the way you customize your face like Play-Doh. Just rubs me in all the right places. And for those of you who haven't played Bethesda games before, their face options are... I wouldn't get too hyped though, it just leaves room for disappointment. It could still be a pile of dog meat. Why? The baby.
We even generate a baby based on the couple you make.
I don't want to set the world on fire.
A lot of people know Fallout from Fallout 3, which is the game that got me into the series. Oh, the sidewalking was legendary. But today we're going to be going back in time to 1997 when Fallout 1 was released by Interplay. The story starts in Vault 13. A water chip, which is a computer chip that recycles all the Vault's water, has malfunctioned. I'm guessing they recycle their urine like Mel Gibson did in Waterworld. Anyways, the Vault Overseer tasks the Vault Dweller, which is played by you, to bring back another water chip in 150 days before the Vault's reserves run dry. So yes, there is a time limit, and you're reminded with a cutscene with a guy who's just defeated. If that wasn't daunting enough, when you start, all you get is a nice cutscene and then you're thrusted out into the wasteland trying to punch rats to survive. Only after playing the beginning a few times did I notice that there was a dead body right next to the entrance to the vault, which caused me to loot it, of course, and brought me to the realization that I had a weapon the whole time. A lot of this game taps into the same feeling, where you just feel like you're missing something vital to the experience, right? Especially when you spend the first hour slapping scorpions with your bare hands. Anyways, after you steal the weapons from the last poor guy that got sent on this suicide mission from the evil overseer, you have to get through a cave of rats, which is your first experience into combat. Whenever you're near an enemy, you automatically go into a turn-based combat using action points. You can use action points by moving your character, going inside your inventory, or using your weapons. Now at first, I just clicked my weapon and clicked the enemy I wanted to attack. I did this for an embarrassing amount of minutes until I realized you can actually change the firing mode by right-clicking on your weapon, which allows you to do an aimed shot. This firing mode lets you target individual body parts for higher crit potential or crippling an enemy. You can also aim at their nuts to ignore armor and knock them down to the ground. You might want to be careful while you're aiming though, because you can accidentally shoot your companions. Once you destroy the rats, you reach the end of the cave and you realize, I'm walking really slow. Good thing that in the options, you can click always run, because most of the time, you're going to be required to run long stretches of pictures.
Such a huge cast of video game characters.
It's all games that I grew up loving. It was fun. It's not too difficult to do that thing where you pretend.
Once you're out of the cave, you're presented with the map screen, which took me a good minute to realize because it just kind of hardcore cut straight to it. Oh, this is where the game really opens up, and oh, is it easy to get distracted while exploring the map. But what the game doesn't tell you is that every step you take on that map is another day that your vault doesn't have a water chip. On this map, you can finally go wherever you want in this post-apocalyptic, retro-futuristic South California. You could go to any place in any order. The game tells you nothing. In the beginning, you're just alone with some of the most depressing ambient music that will make the hairs on your butt stand up as you're attacked by mutated creatures. The atmosphere for Fallout holds up well. It even plays into the player's feelings of not knowing where the heck to go. So after furiously clicking around the whole map, you're gonna finally find a town. This is when you start talking to everybody, because some NPCs are gonna be able to unlock other areas on your map, and some NPCs are just useless. And if you click enough, you're bound to be slapped in the face with some voice acting.
Hunt down the merchant and his wife, and exterminate them.
The voice acting is pretty fantastic. Sadly, the voice acting is only for important NPCs. which helps when you're searching the whole town for a quest. Oh, but be careful, because even though the game forces you to talk to everyone because you have no idea where to go or what to do, if you talk to the wrong person or go down the wrong alley, them homeboys will be waiting for you. I remember I was looking for a character to complete this quest, and I thought I went into the wrong building, because when I went in there and I talked to someone, they automatically attacked me. But then a couple hours later, I found out the guy I was supposed to talk to was right next to the same guy who would turn the whole room against me. You can kill the quest givers in this game. How am I supposed to feel? I'm walking inside of a building and this guy's popping off at the mouth. Of course, I'm gonna put my hands on him, but that sweet XP and loot and possible really good story elements? Yep, that's gone. Unless you save. I'm almost certain that saving is a part of the mechanics of the game, especially because you only get a handful of save slots. Oh, if you mess up the saving mechanic, you might have to restart the whole game. As you might have noticed, this game is pretty old in its ways, like a stubborn old grandpa. He likes to give you money every Christmas, but he also tells you that you look fat. Anyone got grandparents from the islands? You know what I'm talking about. There's a few issues you'll run into, like you clearly being radiated, but the doctor says, oh, you'll be fine, just need a couple nights rest, then you fall over dead.
Your bones are scraped clean by the desolate wind. Your vault will now surely die, as you have.
But let's turn up the saturation just a little bit. Other than those horrible flaws, I really enjoyed going into different towns and seeing what trouble I can get into. You start to notice that the quest for getting the water chip is almost like a side quest compared to what's really going on in the world. You almost forget that your people could be possibly dying of thirst because you found a dog that if you're wearing a leather jacket that closely resembles Mad Max, another Mel Gibson movie, you can get dog meat as a companion. Or you might get wrapped up into some scummy quest to grab a ton of bottle caps that might make you feel dirty after. But then you think of that nice shiny gun sold in that back alley. By now, I'm sure you noticed the death animations. The pixel art in this game holds up well. The best part is when this happens during a quest and they don't even clean it up. Too bad the other animations like opening up doors kind of looks suspect. Why does it always look like I'm trying to steal something? Even feeding the dog looks like I'm trying to steal something. The art style kind of looks like Play-Doh, but I actually like it. Except for the map. The map looks like I'm playing Missile Command. Anyways, you start to understand how the game works, which is you roam around to each town, complete their quests, and maybe on the way you get stopped by a bandit, cows, or a police box. Probably one of the best things about the quest is that you could tackle them in multiple ways, almost to the point that you think you might break the game. When you first meet the Brotherhood, you have to complete a ridiculous quest in order to go inside. This quest can easily make you restart your game save if you don't properly know how to prevent radiation. Or you can simply just pick the lock and they won't even know the difference. You being able to have different options in these quests comes down to what you picked during character creation and what you leveled up after during the game. For example, if your intelligence is lower than 4, your character will usually only be able to speak in grunts, unable to carry any meaningful dialogue. There's also the little things like being a woman would allow you to sweet talk the guard and enter the town at night, even though it's against the rules. But of course, if you're a guy, you can't use your charm to sway the guard. Depending on what you put your points into, you can actually use those skills to unlock secret areas and complete quests. This is another thing that the game does not hint at all, and I guess it's my fault for not reading the original manual, because it probably could have made my life a lot easier. There are things that the game tells you that are just flat out wrong. Like when an NPC gives you directions that make no sense. In this quest, the NPC tells me to go to the ruins of the Ancient Order. They say it's south of my location.
You have to go to the ruins of the Ancient Order. That's south of here.
But it wasn't. It's way over here. And it wasn't even called Ruins of anything. It was called The Glow. Other than that, there is tons of detail in this game, more than I see in games today. Multiple endings and all. One time I was exploring the town, and naturally I didn't know where to go next. But I ended up stumbling upon a hidden group called the Thieves' Circle. This was an amazing moment. But in order to join the circle, I had to steal a necklace from a merchant that I decided to kill for money in the last quest. Now that was priceless.
Fallout was an experience. It's really an eye-opener playing these old 90s PC games. I thought I was just gonna complain that it was old, and this was probably a waste of my time going back and playing through this, but this was actually really fun. It just felt like I was balancing plates with Q-tips. I recommend if you're gonna play this game, take a pro tip from Jesus. Save a lot.